Alright, hello, my name is Sham Junior Chatu, and I'm going to talk to you about my digital twins for healthcare video presentation. If my voice sounds a little bit nasally, it's because I've just gotten over the flu, so hopefully you can bear with it. So I'm going to answer two main questions at least in this presentation. Why am I interested in the research project I've chosen, and what makes me a good candidate? So I'll put a little question mark here, and another little question mark here. Right, so why am I interested in my research project? I'm going to first talk about what got me interested into programming, AI, data science. I'm going to use these terms interchangeably, but basically what first got me interested was playing games. Here's an example of Pokemon, and here's a script I wrote to play the game. When I was younger, I realized there was a way to automate part of the game, which I did. I used a piece of blue tack and a stick to press on the arrow keys on the actual hardware, and it worked. I'll be brief just to kind of speed it up. But we're going to come back to this. Even at I think 5 or 6, I knew there were ways to automate even more of the game. Fast forward 20 or so years, I'm watching an AlphaGo documentary. And then I see Move 37. Now, I understood Move 37 was significant, but I don't understand why it's significant. I remember hearing at the time, it's a move that a human wouldn't have played. I'm like, okay, that's interesting, but I don't quite get why that's interesting, per se. Anyway, uh, later on, I see OpenAI beat the Dota 2 players. And at that point, the penny dropped. I now understood what they meant by Move 37. So, humans have learned to play games in certain ways. Like in Pokemon, I do certain things that I think are correct based on trial, error, and assumption. But when you look at AlphaGo in terms of chess, well, AlphaGo's learned on millions of hours. It's probably learned things you haven't considered. So in a way, you could say it's playing the game in a more correct way, in a way you can't fathom because of your limited bandwidth. I'm like, whoa, okay, so that's quite interesting now. And here's a poker project I'm working on right now. But why am I interested in this research topic? Because ultimately, for number one, I think AI can teach us how to do things we can't do ourselves. AI can teach us things. That's ultimately the one line it comes down to. So, and the next question now is, what makes me a good candidate? So, I think the main lesson, or the only one skill a person needs, in my opinion, you need more than one, but the most important one, is just the, I'd say, tenacity to stick to a problem. Did I spell that right? To pick a problem and just keep working it for hours on end. I write some code, error. I write some code again, another error. Then, after 5, 6 times, it works. I think that's just life, really. Pick a problem, try something. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, well, try something else. If it doesn't work, try something else. If it doesn't work, try something else. Maybe look at something adjacent, find some help. That's really the main skill, being able to sit down, work hard, and just keep typing away, even when it looks difficult. There are other softer skills like communication, teamwork, which are pretty important, but I think this is the one skill that I say, hey, if I've got to hang my hat on it, I'd go all on that one skill. And then a more concrete example now is my master's degree. I think I got pretty good grades, and we had a wide range of topics. For robotics, for example, I had to learn how to use ROS, a completely new operating system, in 7 weeks, 6.5 weeks, and do a really heavy piece of work. In knowledge representation, I had to go and use Weka 2 to do some text mining or something. Yeah, across my masters, I had to go and learn loads of new skills really quickly and use them to a pretty high level. And I managed to do pretty well with it, So I think this skill applied here, yeah, I think that's what kind of shows I'm a good candidate, I feel. And going beyond that now, I think I'm a pretty I'd say well-rounded individual. So I wouldn't say I'm a master at anything, but I'm pretty good at most areas, and I've got the willingness to kind of specialize in one or two as you go forward. So let's look at the project specifically right now. Digital twin-driven cognitive architectures for adaptive robotics in care systems. What I like about this project is the simulation environment for robot interactions. I think simulations, in a way, is part of the answer to most problems we face. As long as we can properly model a physical world, we can have an agent trained in this world like millions of hours easily. Same thing with chess. We could simulate the chess world. We could play a billion games in like a couple of hours, a couple of days. And in those billions of simulations, we can learn the rules. Same thing with a simulated environment. Now, it'll be a bit more complex because it's real world physics, so maybe it'll take a couple of weeks to run simulations, but the simulations is what we can use to create a policy that we use in the real world. So NVIDIA is doing something very similar. And then the modeling of casual, modeling of monocyte and macrophage. I feel that what we're doing is we're taking a physical phenomenon, okay? We're going to represent it via maths. And this looks easy, but it's not at all. We have to choose how do we represent it? A matrix, an array, a vector? Are we losing anything? Are we losing information, dimensionality? What are we willing to sacrifice? Then we're going to give it to the computer and have that, again, run simulations. Yeah, that's kind of pretty good. So that is, I think, a reasonable outlook at my approach. So what would you say makes me a good candidate? My range and tenacity. So yeah, that is my my answers for the two questions, and I feel like I've done well. So thanks for watching the presentation, I guess.